राम जय जय राम सिया राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम राम सिया राम जय जय राम सिया राम।
सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Together we chant chapter 14, Bhagavad Gita, verses 18 to 27.
ऊर्ध्वं गच्छन्ति सत्त्वस्थाः मध्ये तिष्ठन्ति राजसाः जघन्यगुणवृत्तिस्थाः अधो गच्छन्ति तामसाः नान्यं गुणेभ्यः कर्तारम् यदा द्रष्टानुपश्यति गुणेभ्यश्च परं वेत्ति मद्भावं सोऽधिगच्छति गुणानेतानतीत्यत्रीन् देही देहसमुद्भवान् जन्म मृत्युजरा दुःखैः विमुक्तो मृतमश्नुते। अर्जुन उवाच कैर्लिङ्गैस्त्रीन् गुणानेतान् अतीतो भवति प्रभो किमाचारः कथं चैतान् त्रीन् गुणानतिवर्तते। श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रकाशं च प्रवृत्तिं च मोहमेव च पाण्डव न द्वेष्टि सम्प्रवृत्तानि न निवृत्तानि काङ्क्षति उदासीनवदासीनः गुणैर्यो न विचाल्यते गुणा वर्तन्त इत्येव योऽवतिष्ठति नेङ्गते समदुःखसुखस्वस्थः समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः तुल्यप्रिया प्रियो धीरः तुल्यनिन्दात्मसंस्तुतिः मानापमानयोस्तुल्यः तुल्यो मित्रारिपक्षयोः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी गुणातीतः स उच्यते मां च यो व्यभिचारेण भक्तियोगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीत्यैतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते ब्रह्मणो हि प्रतिष्ठाहम् अमृतस्याव्ययस्य च शाश्वतस्य च धर्मस्य सुखस्यैकान्तिकस्य च
Aditi, you have a question?
Hari Om Janki ji. I'm trying to put, I've put it up on the chat. It's a little big. So I'm
Okay,
not.
don't worry. Can you put, you can't put your video on?
Yes, Janki ji, sorry, I'll just put it on.
Aditi, fear is an emotion which grips all destructive animals. The carnivore exhibits fear with little provocation. In striking contrast, the herbivore rarely shows any signs of fear. The more cruel and destructive an animal, the more terrified it feels at the suggestion of any danger. Conversely, the more meek and gentle an animal, the more calm it remains in the face of danger, even at the threshold of death. The same principle holds for human beings. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1, verse 10. Okay, so question. This is where the quote is from.
Yeah, this is where the explanation is from.
This is
And
Swamiji's text, right?
Swamiji's text, yes. I'm not being able to wrap my head around this because how can the meek not be fearful? Even in human beings, you see that the meek are really scared. So, and even smaller animals who are meek and harmless, they are more scared than a lion who's just sitting and, so I'm not being able to wrap my head. I tried about 2-3 days to think about it, but it's not coming.
I mean, he's given so much explanation that I'm really not very sure what further to say. But you feel that this does not fit the facts as you see them.
Yes.
And the reason it doesn't fit the facts as you see them is you see like maybe a rabbit will run away, but a tiger is sitting happily. Like that, right? That's
Yeah,
what-
or maybe just a bird with a slight sound, like a provocation of a sound or a footstep, just flies away out of fear. So
Okay, so the first law of comparison, Aditi, is what?
equals.
Equals, always equals. So you have to equalize things if you're going to compare. For those who are unfamiliar with the law, it is always that all other factors being equal. You have to equalize everything. You can't take a very tiny rabbit surrounded by enemies and a big tiger, not surrounded by enemies. You can't make that. So you have to equalize it. You have to make the tiger small, and you have to make the rabbit and tiger same and the same amount of enemies around. Then you can make a comparison. Okay, so firstly, when you're making a comparison, always remember this. You have to equalize everything else. Now, if you equalize everything else, you'll find that a destructive person or a destructive being, any being, finds fear more in that same circumstance. Suppose the tiger meets somebody. Suppose a tiger, the rabbit is so much, and it's what should I say? Those who prey on it are so big. So you make that same thing for the tiger. The tiger will be terrified. And the reason probably this happens is that the more selfish, the more self-centered you are, the more there is the fear of loss, obviously, right? So you see somebody, you throw Duryodhana out of his kingdom, and you throw Rama out of his kingdom, and you see the difference, right? You haran of what is haran? You steal off Rama's wife, and you steal abduct. Okay, thank you. You abduct Rama's wife, and you abduct Ravana's wife. You'll see the difference, right? So it holds true when you equalize everything else. Maybe that's where you're finding it difficult. You're saying, oh, look at this tiger, he's just all and he's sitting aram say. But at the moment, there is no, what should I say? Nobody trying to eat him. But let another tiger come in, or another bigger creature come in, then you will see. But because, it's incredible actually. Suppose you lived in a herd, okay? And every day from that herd, a tiger would kill one of your family, friends, whatever. Now you are in the herd and there are tigers all around you. They're just sitting, they're not doing anything. How would you feel? But if you look at the wildebeest and the deer and all, they know the tiger's there. Okay? They know that the tiger eats them. They are doing their normal life. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to do that, just living a normal life and the tiger is just sitting there. I mean, they obviously know that the tiger is not currently on the prowl. They understand that also. But still, even if you know he's not on the prowl, he's just there. And you say, oh my God, your tiger yahan kyun baitha hai? Right? Human beings will not, will find it very difficult. A very common example is, suppose a lady drives and meets with an accident. She finds it very difficult to go back to driving, right? So how come the animals don't seem to have this? So why don't the deer say, ki, yesterday this tiger ate my friend. Okay, tomorrow there's a good chance he'll eat me. Main yahan se to bhaga. I will not go there. But they don't. They continue to live there along with the tigers. And the tiger next day will come and take another deer or wildebeest or whatever from the herd. How would you like that? How can you live like that, right? Humans don't usually live like that. We will say, no, go kill that tiger immediately. So I don't know. I'm just explaining it further. I don't know if this is helping.
But Janki ji, when it comes to human beings, it says conversely, the more meek and gentle. So you're comparing the gentle with the harsh. So as in a human, you'll compare a similar thing, right?
Yeah, so look at it now. The ones who are more meek are usually more secure than the ones who are less meek. I mean, like, who is more secure? Does I don't know, Sita feel more secure or Ravana feel more secure? Sita is living in Lanka. Ravana is visiting her every day. they are having a conversation. You're familiar with this, right? They have a conversation every day. Every day he visits her, every day he tempts her, every day whatever goes on. And all the Rakshas is also saying, Ravana is coming to you. She is secure. She knows the grammar. He's coming. I am here. So, I don't know how to say. See, there's this fires going on in California, right? And people's houses are being burnt. Like they're all being evacuated. People are dying. You'd imagine that in an advanced country like that, they're able to handle all these emergencies, right? Now there have been various people over there, all of whom have lost their house, all of whom have lost a substantial amount. There will be a difference between the worry and tension of all the people, right? Everybody may be worried, everybody is tense, everybody has lost their house, everybody doesn't know. I mean, this fire can spread, and most Indians must be knowing about the fire in California because so many Indians live there. So your friends and families are usually in California. Sarah from class is in California. That's right? Sarah's in class in California.
Yes.
So we know California is, kind of close to India. Close in the sense we understand California. Now, what is happening there? Amongst the people who have lost their houses, amongst the people who are suffering this unforeseen tragedy, is everybody suffering the same?
No.
So what explains the difference is that selfishness. Those who are more selfish will suffer it a lot more than those who are more unselfish. So now this is difficult to understand. So what Swamiji did was convert it to destructive and meek, because that's easier to understand.
This is easier, Janki, to understand. The selfish and unselfish, but meek and calm is really difficult to,
Okay, let me give you another example. Your father is a very meek and calm, I won't say meek, but calm person. So comparatively, in the same situation, he will be less worked up than
Yes.
someone.
But
So
what about the meek part?
meek in the sense, I don't know what you're understanding by the word meek.
I'm associating fear with meek. Like a meek,
Meek, when the Bible say, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the world."
Maybe my understanding is wrong.
Or usage of words, the different usage of the words. So, what he is saying is that animals who are herbivores versus animals who are carnivores. Carnivores are more destructive.
Yes.
So, I think selfish is more destructive. You
Yes.
are saying selfish, unselfish is easier for you to understand because you've been hearing it. But when you write a book, you have to assume the other person.
Yes.
So therefore, it's easier for people to see that destructive people have more fear. Just imagine this. What is that guy who was a very famous Dawood, right? Is he still there, Dawood? Is he still around? So Dawood, how frightened must he be? Like, what kind of insecurity would he be going through? Compared to Gandhi, say, let's see. That's a very. But see, Gandhi is going to be shot and killed, but he'll be less frightened than Dawood, who is surrounded by his people and nobody can ever get to him.
I think I understand the calm part, because when you're calm, then your intellect is also working, versus when you're agitated and selfish and it's not working, and that's where the fear develops. That portion is, you can understand.
You can't say calm when you're saying selfish. When you're saying selfish, you have to say unselfish.
Unselfish.
So yeah, I've known people who were like, say, I know a chairman of his company. The workers were striking. It's not an unusual thing, but he just told us the story. If the workers were striking and was like mob fury was developing, and he just walked into that mob. Normally these guys run away, no? Because they can't bear it.
Hmm.
They know that these guys are going mad, they can do something to you. But he just walked in and things settled down. He went to the workers. Even I think Ratan Tata has been known to do that. Like, go into that mob. Must be terrible for his security, but they go into it, and deal with those guys. This is not easy and it's not recommended also.
Hmm.
Because when people are going mad, it's best that you don't deal with them. But people have done it and not been frightened. Versus the others, you hear all the others, they scoot away from there. When that carbon, whatever, what was that company of Bhopal?
Carbide.
Union Carbide.
Union Carbide. Yeah.
When Carbide, Enron, all those guys had run from the country. The moment they found out there was trouble, they took a flight and left. Because they know backlash can be terrible.
Right. Okay.
So
So
they're out of the place, yeah.
yeah. So maybe I'll just rethink of what I'm thinking meek to be and do a little bit of more
Think of
looking.
it as he's writing a book for anyone. Anyone in the world can pick up this book and read. So he has to put language that he hopes. He says selfish, unselfish, and what is selfish, what is unselfish? Why are selfish people more agitated? You studied all this, so you're saying, oh, okay, that concept, I get it.
Yes, but Janki ji, when I was reading this, the concept of selfish and unselfishness did not come. I read it for what it is, like without knowing
Meant to read
Vedanta.
it. Yeah.
So I got confused,
Now
but-
he can only do the best he can. Ab sabko kaise.
No, but it does make sense now when you have explained this concept. But I'll still go back and revisit this. And sorry, one more thing that I needed a little bit more clarity was true sacrifice arises within one's inner personality, not from the outward situations and circumstances. So can you just elaborate maybe an example or something?
Whether you're sacrificial or not is based on your intention, not on the action. That's what he means.
Okay, got it. Yes. Thank you, Janki ji.
Anupama. Do food habits also play a role in this kind of behavior, as there's a mention of herbivore versus carnivore? Anupama, can I see you anywhere? Anupama?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, Anupama, do food habits play a role? Yes, they do play a role, but it's an effect, not a cause. When you are grosser by nature, you will choose grosser food. When you are subtler by nature, you will choose subtler food. So you can see what a person likes to eat and maybe make some analysis of it. But you cannot take the food, say a person wants to eat, I don't know what, venison for breakfast, I don't know, something like that. They want to eat all the animals of the world they want to eat. And you say, no, you have to become vegetarian. And then you'll become a good person. That won't. Because the gunas determine your food cannot affect the gunas. And why can't your food affect the gunas?
Because
So
the
the
gross cannot
gross
affect the
cannot
subtle.
affect it.
Very good. See what a smart class we have.
So it wouldn't mean that people who eat meat or, have a sort of propensity towards maybe, negative emotions like maybe anger or, being destructive, um, as opposed to, herbivores who would be considered to be more meek, rather than meek, I'd say gentle, kinder. So those kind of emotions are not sort of just exclusively, people who are vegetarians, for instance, would have more of that as well, opposed to those, who are carnivores, who might not be.
Yeah,
That
but
won't have an effect. I mean,
no, it won't have an effect. Your food cannot have an effect on emotions, but you can't be so, what should I say, so 1:1 and say, okay, he's
yeah,
a
that's too
carnivore,
rigid
so-
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see, in our country at least, families are vegetarian. You see, if I grew up as a vegetarian and today I'm a vegetarian, that's not because I chose it. So
I get that.
there's so
But
many factors.
uh,
Yeah.
that holds true for non-vegetarians also. Like as a family that we could have
Yes, but then many non-vegetarians
turned
um,
vegetarian.
yeah. And of course, many vegetarians do turn non-vegetarians, but in human life, there are so many various factors playing that it's difficult to make that 1:1 connection.
Thank you.
Momita. According to Jordan Peterson, the original meaning of meek in the Bible is not passive or weak, but rather acting with mercy and intelligence. He says a meek person knows how to diffuse the potential for violence and war. Peterson also says that real meekness requires fierce intelligence and competent judgment. Okay. I mean, possible. I haven't studied it enough. But if we have to say that that sentence is right, then we would have to say that in our language, pure mind and clear intellect. So, same thing he is saying. So, yes, that's probably true. All right. So, now let's see. What have we to do today in class is we have to do chapter 14, and we are starting another section in the text, which is the portion of Guna Atita, means the description of the self-realized person. So in the 19th verse, he says, such a person attains my being. Attains my being means attains self-realization. That I suppose is clear. Anyone new to the class today? No. All these iPhones, all of you who have an iPhone, please remove the word iPhone and put your own name. We are not interested in which gadget you're using. We are interested in you. So if you can remove your names, remove the gadget's name and put your name, that would be very good. Right. Mahesh, are you new to the class?
Ma'am, I attended in the past and I have spoken to you also. I'm not new. Yeah.
Okay. Spoken to me?
I mean, I had a one-to-one conversation also sometime after attending your class, but off late I was not attending, but again I have resumed.
Okay. Welcome back then. But I
Thank you.
don't think we had a one-to-one. You must be mistaking me with somebody else.
No, I did have. Yeah.
I'm growing old because normally I remember everybody.
Okay.
Okay. So, Nanyam Gunebhya Kartaram. No other doer than the gunas. When will we learn this? We should just etch it on our hearts and keep. I don't know where. Put it on your mirror and keep, because you will see a mirror 20 times a day. So put it there. Nanyam gunebhya kartar. There is no karta, there's no doer other than the gunas. What a superb sentence. It is the height of objectivity. Can you look at each being for what they are, have absolutely no judgment on whether it is good or bad? You simply see it for what it is. That's it. This is the height of objectivity. See it for what it is. You don't praise it, you don't condemn it, you don't want it, you don't not want it. You have no view other than the fact that this is the way it is. That's it. Yada drashta anupashyati. When a drashta, when a seer sees that. Yeah, Deepraj?
So this thing, like to cognize that there is no other actor but the gunas, this is obtained through objectivity.
This is what to objectivity?
Is it obtained through objectivity?
It is objective.
It
Not
is
objective.
objective.
It is
Okay.
objective. So the height of objective.
Okay, so last class you said that objectivity can be attained at every level of spiritual growth because it has nothing to do with the mind. So does this mean that a person, regardless of where he is on the spiritual ladder, if he has his intellect over his mind, he will be able to see this?
You made a mistake because you missed one word. It's as precise as mathematics. You can't miss. You miss one digit. How will your calculation come out wrong? What did he miss? Anyone can help Deep Raj. The advantage with Deep Raj is if you tell him, he'll get it. So can you tell him? What? Just tell the word, okay? Actually, it's two words, but one of them is only a connector. So can anyone help Deep Raj and say, okay, you missed this word, and that's why you have this question?
Didn't get the question.
Repeat the question, Deep Raj.
So my question is, because objectivity has to do with the intellect and not the mind. My question is that this thing, because to see that only the gunas are the actor is objectivity, correct? And objectivity can be obtained at any level of the spiritual growth. Does this mean any objective person at any level can see this? That there is no other actor but the gunas? That was my question.
So what did he miss? He asked this question because he missed something. What is that thing he missed? Question is not. He said, Deepraj says that, and he's quoting, he's saying that a person can be objective at any level of spiritual growth, which is correct. Here, person can be level of. So now we are saying objectivity is, according to Deepraj, we are saying objectivity is knowing that the karta is the guna. So that means at any level of spiritual growth, you can see this. So that's his question. Now we're ignoring his question. Now I have a question. That he missed something and therefore the question arose. What is it that he missed?
Relative versus absolute.
Very good. Except that there's a word that you missed. You can go.
Vairagya.
That word was not said, Mamita. The word that he missed, now he's referring to a sentence that was just said. Now you all can go back later on and check whether the word was said. Anyone? No one? Nobody's listening. How tragic.
The
To the extent
desired.
the person is grown.
What?
To the extent the person is grown.
No, there was no word like that. He's only referring to a previous sentence, right? So what was that sentence? Now you know what a waste of time I do talking.
Does here refer to self-realized person?
Okay, but what the question on the table at the moment is, Deepraj missed something in the previous sentence. Therefore, this question arose. What is that he missed? That word should have obviously been said in the class. Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Doership.
Was it said at all? What a waste of time. What a waste of time. कोई सुन रहा है क्या? कोई है क्या यहाँ पे?
Ma'am,
Yeah, Rachita.
here, I'm not understanding exactly when he answered, like, maybe he missed the relative objectivity here.
Okay, conceptually maybe, but what was the sentence in which he missed something and therefore the question arose in his mind?
I didn't understand anything.
Okay, never mind. Let's just finish with this suspense. The words you missed, there were two words, but one of them was the important one. The word you missed was is the height of objectivity. You will go back and listen to it, you will hear it again. This is the height of objectivity. This is the highest form of objectivity. At every level, your intellect will be able to see more and more. But it's not just mental purity, which is it's not just intellectual activity, also mental purity, right? That's why Momita says the desire has been overcome, but that she's saying from knowing other things. When you're following the line of thought, you have to follow the line of thought. You can't bring in other factors. Okay, so yeah, relative objectivity is correct, all of that is correct, but the word that you had to know is the height of object. Is the highest form of it. Okay? So,
but wasn't Deepraj saying that along the spiritual path, that means you've not reached the highest form of objectivity, but wherever you are, to be able to look at everything from the perspective of the gunas?
You won't be able to in lower levels. You will be able to be objective compared to your level, but you cannot have objectivity of a higher level. That's his point.
Okay.
And which is correct, obviously. How can you have a self-realized person's objectivity when you're a selfish person? It can't be done.
So it's not a question of either or.
Yeah, but this, what he's talking about, is about the self-realized soul. He says, mad bhavam sodhigacchati. Saha mad bhavam adhigacchati. So he reaches me. Reaches me means self-realization. He becomes one with me.
Right.
And I like the usage of the term adhigacchati. Adhi refers to something higher, above. So adhigacchati. Gacchati means goes. Right? So if you say it in English, you say he attains my being, or he goes to me, whatever. But adhigacchati is a very nice word. Just a personal view, okay? I'm no Sanskrit scholar, but adhi refers to being above. So it is above going. Because you are the self, right? It's just very beautiful use of language. You're not going anywhere. You are the self. You're not reaching anywhere. So very, very nicely, sort of gone beyond going and coming almost. Adi Gacchati. Gacchati, you all know. Everybody who studied even the most basic Sanskrit knows Gacchati means goes. Adi means above, over, things like that. So interesting usage of this term. Of course, some other Sanskrit scholar can argue that it's only Padapurnartham. It's only for the meter that he's added it. You can argue like that, but to me it makes sense. Of course, opinion. Yes, Aditi. You're muted, Aditi.
Apologies. This cannot be understood at a relative level for people like us. That,
of course, that's what you're saying, no?
because you said it's the highest when you start associating all the gunas, but that's the highest. So how at a relative level can
read the text? Na anyam gunebhya kartaram. Na anyam. Nothing else you can see but the function of the gunas. Now, none of us can claim that.
Yes.
That is the height. He's referring to a person of realization. He's talking about, you've absolutely divided out the individual from the gunas. Whatever his gunas are not influencing how you love him or feel for him or whatever. Now, who has reached that stage? So it is relative for us. Yeah, okay, my husband is like this, my children are like this, my neighbor is like that. We can do all this stuff. No anya gunebhya kartaram. Okay, put it more prosaically. No anyam kartaram gunebhya. I'm just putting it in prose. No anyam, I don't know how much. Y'all are familiar with so much Sanskrit? No anyam kartaram. No other karta. Gunebhya than the gunas. Now, this is the height, no? Like you can't see anything. You can't see husband, child, neighbor. You don't see all that. You see only gunas.
Okay, got it, Jankiji. Thank you.
Momita, are we saying this is the relative height of objectivity one has reached? Momita, what does that mean? Relative height of objectivity? Relative objectivity one has reached when you can see things for what they are in your world.
Then what did we mean by height?
That no anya kartaram, no other karta, gunebhya, than the gunas.
But where does height come into that?
Means 100% you're seeing it like that.
Okay, so there's no relative height.
No, wait. We can all be objective. We can all make correct assessments. But our correct assessment is pertaining to how much we have grown, right? You cannot make an assessment beyond what you have grown yourself. So therefore, at our level, we have to do this. But when you do it 100%, then you're a self-realized person.
Yeah, so that was my confusion. When you said height, I thought, are we talking about a relative height? Or
There's no relative height. Height means the height.
Right.
Maybe you are an English person. You have to at least not say relative height. Ye hota nahi hai.
yeah,
Right?
that was my confusion.
So the highest point of objectivity is when you see no other actor than the gunas. Relative objectivity is you are able to assess people more or less. Because you can't assess beyond a point, it's not possible. When your vision is only blurred, how are you going to assess?
So the confusion for us rose because we didn't notice the word height and therefore missed the relativity of the growth.
This verse is not about relative. This verse is about absolute.
Okay. Thank you.
And denying it is not seen as a bad person. Like the child reaching for the cookie and somebody else denying it is not seen as a bad person. Yes, okay. It's fine. Ruchika, yes?
So, as the first sentence was like, objectivity can be achieved at any stage of, at any stage. So, and then you talked about the height of the objectivity. But as a person, who can be at the any level, I'm talking here someone who is, who hasn't achieved any enlightenment, not self-realized person. So for that person, the objectivity wouldn't be affected by the attachment and desire the person is having.
It would be. That's why it's relative, no?
So how can the objectivity be achieved at any stage?
Every one of us has a mind and intellect. Today also you can't switch on your video.
No, I can today.
Okay, anyone who says anything must switch on their video. That's a rule. At least itna to kar lo bhaiya. So, when you are,
Yeah.
nice to see you, Ruchika. Okay. So now,
Oh, wow.
when you are at any level of spiritual growth, you can use whatever intellect you currently have. When you use whatever intellect you currently have, you are being an objective person. When you use whatever mind you have, then you become emotional, impulsive, whimsical. This is all what happens when you use your mind. So at any level, all of us have a mind and intellect. When our behavior, when our actions are determined by the mind, we have emotional behavior, impulsive behavior, whimsical behavior, eccentric behavior, random behavior. You're functioning on the mind. One day I love you so much, you're the world's best person. One day I hate you so much, you're the world's worst person. All this happens because it's emotion-led behavior. Children are katti, katti, batti, batti, the emotion-led behavior. Now, when you become objective, you don't go by that incident, which is at the moment affecting your mind in whichever way, positive or negative, but take a step back and say, okay, let's look at this picture over here. This person may have at the moment exhibited a negative characteristic, but I choose to A, overlook it, B, break the relationship because of it, C, go and talk to the person about it. You have so many alternatives, right? When you take a step back and you start and think of what should I do? How do I handle this? You start becoming objective because now you're using the intellect. However, your objectivity is going to be restricted by the level. You cannot have self-realized person's objectivity by being a selfish person. ऐसे तो होगा नहीं, right? So, but wherever you are, you can exert your intellect.
So, for example, I'm meeting someone for the first time. Someone like anything, a plant, tree, or any person. Just get outside of my room, seeing things around me. That time, a person like me who is a newbie, even though I'm seeing anything in front of my eyes, in back of my mind, I start judging that thing. It can be in any sense. So when we talk about being objective, even though I haven't interacted with any of the things, I'm seeing the person is very far distant from me walking down on the street, or like just plant very far away from me, but it looks nice or it looks bad. I instantly there are like other emotions that goes by. That doesn't affect my emotional being. I'm in a stable state that I am in, but I make conclusions about those things. So that does affect the objectivity because that person, that plant, that thing is not like that. Those are my conclusions towards it. So how objectivity is being realized at any stage? Like, I'm still confused a bit about it.
What you are calling judgment is the emotion, because that judgment is merely I like it or I don't like it. It is according to my desire or it is not according to my desire. So these are all of this that you have given, all the examples have all to do with the mind. Intellect's objectivity says, this is my first interaction with this person, object or being, whatever it is. I know nothing. That's objectivity because that's a fact. What is the fact over here? The only fact is I know nothing.
Yeah.
So that's your fact. Everything else is an emotion. Now, objectivity, when you begin with objectivity, you have to not think of it in terms of thoughts. You think of it better off in terms of action. In terms of action means when I start doing something, I will not do it because of what I'm feeling, but I will do it based on whatever my application is. I applied myself to it and I decided something, I will do that, not what I'm feeling. So in terms, when you start, basically you have to switch off from actions which are impulse. Don't take any action based on it. When you are about to take an action, make sure that you have shifted over to the intellectual part. And your emotions can be on freely.
So first comes the realization that the mind is affecting the intellect while being objective. When I get the realization, then I can control the actions.
Start all this stuff. Just say, if I'm about to take an action, I'm going to think about it. That's all that's required. People are, when they talk objectivity, they want to go to the height of it always. Don't do that. Start at the basics. If I'm about to take an action, I'm going to think about it. That's your base level. And if you stick with that, you're doing good. And when I say base level, now all the others in the class say, oh, we don't have to stick at base level. No, all of us over here have to stick to that. Everybody in the class. Other people are all saying, oh, these junior students, they have to do that. We are senior students. No such thing. Everybody will do this. That when you're about to perform an action, remember, related to action. The reason to relate it to action is first, it's very easy to identify. I mean, it's much easier to identify. And the mind, like even now, what you're thinking of as objectivity was actually the mind. Right? So don't go there because it's too subtle. Go with action. I'm about to do something. I just met a person. The person has asked me for 500 rupees. I'm about to perform an action. This is when I think. That's called objective. Or that person says, I just met this person. He's offering me an ice cream. You just met the person. Now I think, should I or shouldn't I? What are my reasons for? What are my reasons against? And go with the reason, not with the feeling. That's what you do with reference to objectivity. You don't fool around in your head at all. It's just confusing and it takes us nowhere. Okay? It's like doing engineering, right? When you want a certain result, you know what are your options to obtain that result and what are the sort of pros and cons of each of these options. Do exactly the same in life.
Yes, ma'am. Got it cleared now.
Ravi Chabra. Objectivity can be achieved if you try to stand apart from the situation without being judgmental and consider pros and cons and then arrive at a solution. Yes, you can achieve it in various ways, and this is also a way. Just to repeat, at the moment, it is best for us to start with objectivity at the level of action. Do not do all this stuff in your head because 9 out of 10 times you're going to get it wrong. Don't do all this stuff. It's just a waste of time. I know, I've done it plenty. So don't, it doesn't take us anywhere. Okay, so, na anya kartaram, no other karta. Then, gunebhyah, then gunas. Yada drashta anupashyati. When the drashta anupashyati, when the seer sees this. Now, objectivity is your capacity to see things as they are. Right? Now, when you are discussing that objectivity, one of the most important things is to understand that when you're seeing something, you're seeing the gunas, plus you are seeing the
self.
The self.
They are both there. You cannot see the self, but that doesn't mean it's not there. Objectivity means I'm able to see in this individual or myself, this is also an individual, that is also an individual, I'm able to see the kartaram. The karta is only the guna. But beyond the karta, there is something in this individual, whether he or me, which is beyond these gunas. So I'm able to see the whole picture. Right? Otherwise, you'll see, oh, this guy is very tamasic, and then you write him off as a bad debt. Uske saath hum deal hi nahi karte. I think, no. He's tamasic, correct, but the self is also there. And when you begin to realize that, you feel a sense of worship towards everything and everybody. Like in your heart, there is a reverence for beings, for life, because the self is there. That is why in the Hindu community, I don't know if you've realized it ever, that when a dead body goes by, what do?
Namaskar.
Why are you doing it? Dead body. The self is still here. The self is still here. To that self, I bowed. Gunas are not there. The self is still. So I'm bowing. Otherwise, it makes no sense. So why are you bowing down to a dead body now? You didn't bow down to that person when he was alive. Now he's dead and you're bowing down to him. Because now you're saying self is there. How do you say the self is there? If you follow the tradition, what would you be saying?
Ram Nam Satya.
Ram Nam Satya. You people keep quiet at the most, like as if किसी ने सुना ही नहीं है. Every time you go and the dead body, they'll say Ram Nam Satya hai. What is that supposed to mean? The only truth is the self. There's nothing else. It's the only thing over there. You have been seeing gunas, you have been seeing so many things. Now at least understand Ram Nam Satya hai. There's nothing else here, only the self.
In Bengali, we say Bolo Hori Hori Bol.
What is that?
Hori means the Lord, right? Bolo Hori Hori Bol. No.
Can you
Means
say that
say the
slowly?
name of the Lord. Yeah.
Wait,
Hari
wait.
becomes Hori in Bengali.
Hari what?
Bolo Hori Hori Bol.
Oh, Bolo Horo Hari. Okay, fine. Bolo Hari Hari. Yeah. Same thing. Concept is the same. But in India, we like to have difference. You know, saying the same thing, but they like to say it slightly differently. Somebody will say Hari Om, somebody will say Jai Shri Krishna, somebody will say Radhe Radhe. Concept is the same. So, anyway, now if you're going to be objective, wholly objective, you see that the only actor is the gunas, and beyond the gunas is the self. So, if you see this, Param Veti, that supreme, if you are Veti, Veti means to know, to understand. Mad Bhavam Sodhi Gacchati. You come to me. It's so simple, really, in life, and you read it like that, it just seems so simple in class. It's only when you finish class that this starts appearing difficult. But in class, it's very simple. And I see that the only actor is the guna. It's simple enough. If I'm going on the road and the dog starts barking, do I stop there and say, "How dare you bark at me? Bow to you too"? Do I ever stop and do all this? But in life, if I meet somebody and he says something to me, I have to stop there and I have to respond. Because why? If the dog is barking, why don't you bark? Sometimes, you're sitting in the room, quietly sitting in the room. The crow will come and say, caw, caw. Do you say caw, caw? How dare you caw, caw me? You don't say any such silly thing. Right? The crow, what else will he do? He'll do caw, caw only. What else can he do? Can he come and sing to you Lata Mangeshkar songs? He'll do caw, caw only. Once you get it, that here are the gunas and the self is also there, then you have complete objectivity. What does that mean? That means whatever it is, whatever you're seeing, the best and the worst, your mind's feeling towards it is always a sense of reverence, a sense of devotion, a sense of love, a sense of hoping the welfare of the other being, a sense of, I can't even use the word forgiving, but a sense of like a charitable disposition towards the faults of others. Not like the moment you see somebody's fault, you say, there, you made a mistake. Are you believing that anything in this world is without fault? How much can you just take in your stride? Mentally, I'm talking mentally now, okay? So unless there's a reason for you to take action, just take it in your stride. It's okay. It's fine. People make mistakes. It's all right. All of us make mistakes. If you then I don't make mistakes. If you're perfect, then in the past you've been making mistakes. So chill. Everybody makes mistakes. So when you know these two things, this is the height of objectivity. You see things for what they are, meaning you see the gunas and you see the self. Okay? So He tells you what happens after you see the self. Shall we start verse 20?
Ma'am, I have a question. Hari Om, this is Ganesh here.
Okay.
Shall I do this after the verse or before?
No, do now. 2 minutes are left.
Yes, just the question is, see, the sattvic person is considered to be perfect. Okay, now he has humility, he has goal focus, but in the behavioral science, we have something which is called as a dark side of a personality. So if a person is too humble, if put in a desperate situation, can he get desperate? If a person is goal oriented, in a desperate situation, can he be hard headed? Because a person has duality, right? So what does Vedanta have to say in this? This is my question.
There's such a beautiful verse in Niti Shakam on it. He says, what is it? He says, when not asking from the wicked, anabhyarcham, not pleading, not asking anything from the wicked, not asking surud krushashana, from a friend who is not capable, living a life which is always lovable and nyaya. Nyaya means by the law, the right life, which is lovable and by the and sort of things like that. And then he says, so many he says that even when your life is under threat, you take no evil action. You will not do anything wrong, even if it's at the cost of your own life. And such, who has taught the good people? Asidhara vrata. Asidhara means the sword, the edge of the sword. Asidhara vrata. Asi is the sword, so dhara. Isidhara vrata. Who has taught the good people to walk this difficult path? So the good people are those where the dark side has reduced. And why has the dark side reduced? Because desires have reduced. So if you don't have desires, where is that darkness supposed to come from? So that's why, vasanas are represented as dark, the unconscious, all of this is part of that.
So it's all desires. That's it. Start and end with desire.
Yes. Starts and ends with desire. Yes.
One more question. See, this if you look at Swamiji's book at the start, is clearly mentioned question everything. Okay, right? That really got me and still gets me. But there is this chapter on self-realization, the realized person, and Sattvic. Are we giving too much importance or idealizing the Sattvic person and the self-realized person? Because it is good, yes, Sattvic, it's this thing, but sometimes it is too much out of the reach. Even though I have spent some time in the spiritual growth, I'm nowhere near. But is it too much out of reach? Like even this, the person sees for what the three gunas, his objectives, he sees the self, but it becomes too much of a perfection. And are we giving too much importance to the self-realized and the Sattvic?
That is a matter of opinion, no. Each one of us has to take it and make it relative to us. Remember, we had studied this earlier, that you take the concept and make it relative, whatever way you can, as it applies to you. But it's very important to know the whole picture. This is a common, this is a often criticism of Vedanta कि तुम लोग बहुत ऊपर की बात करते हो. We're talking such big things. To whom are you talking now? We are struggling with our daily thing, and you talk some big stuff about self. It's a common criticism. But there are two answers to that. One is that it's very important to know the full picture. Because how do you proceed in your direction if the full picture is not clear to you? And secondly, Vedanta is kind enough, usually, to also give us relative things. He keeps on making it relative as much as he can. He's talking to Arjuna, so he makes it relative to Arjuna. But we've got to get the concept and then learn to make it relative to us. Like even now, when he expresses the man of realization, it is very relative. Relative in the sense he's expressing an absolute in relative terms. Like he says, he's not affected by man and apaman. Right? So, absolute, why do you describe it as not affected by man and apaman? Seems like a silly thing to do. So, he does it like that so that you can take that absolute tulya. Tulya means whatever, being samatva, having same. In what? You say, oh, what is the self-realized person? He's same. And you say same in what? Man and Apman. So, what do I understand? That some people may say good things about me, some people may say bad things about me. My view towards them should not change.
Okay, so it's relative, and that's commonsensical.
You have to
And you
make
grow,
it.
and you have to grow every step of.
But once you understand the picture, you'll understand what is growth. Otherwise,
Yes,
how do you know
understood.
what is growing?
Thank you so much, ma'am. So the first, this thing is, it is desires reduction, right? The answer to the first question. So person, even at the edge of the sword, he will not change, it means reduced desires.
Yeah.
Got it.
He's not tempted, no?
Got it. Thank you so much, thank you.
Okay, so Bharat has an announcement for us.
Yes, Hariom everyone. A reminder, next Sunday we'll have the marathon. For those who can come support us, please do. For details, do contact me. For those who can't make it, we'll be having a small group discussion, class time, and that will be followed by a